Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely reframe your entire mental model of how artificial intelligence should actually be used in business. I know, that sounds like a massive promise, right? But we're going to move entirely past all that hype about using AI just to write things for us. Instead, we're diving into a really profound, high-impact realization about where AI's real value truly lies. And that is in discipline, tracking, and the relentless enforcement of your own personal systems. Okay, so let's jump right into a universal pain point. Why do most business relationships just go quiet? I mean, we've literally all been there. You have a fantastic meeting, a genuinely great conversation. Both of you absolutely mean it when you say you'll follow up. And then, well, life happens. A crazy busy week arrives, then another one, and suddenly, 6 weeks later, you realize you've accidentally ghosted someone you actually really like. You didn't actively decide to end the relationship, and nothing went wrong. You just dropped the ball because you got busy. Because the truth is, relationships don't explode, they just decay. And I want you to take a second and realize that losing touch with people you genuinely care about or valuable business contacts is not a personal failure. For most of us, there's just a huge gap between how many people we care about and how much time we actually have in a day. It is not a motivation problem, it's a systems problem. And frankly, a systems problem is perfectly suited for an AI intervention, just not in the way most people are using it right now.
When we think about AI and relationships, our minds immediately jump to the obvious application, right? We think about drafting follow-up emails, personalizing outreach, or generating messages. But that is missing the point. The real leverage is in tracking, noticing, and remembering. Because let's be totally honest, drafting a follow-up email takes, maybe 4 minutes? Writing is absolutely not what's stopping you. What stops you is the mental bandwidth required to remember that an email needs to be written in the first place. By the time you actually know you need to write something, you've already done the artist's part.
So what happens when we only use AI as a writer? Well, we fall right into these pitfalls. Pointing AI solely at content generation creates the exact outcome literally nobody wants. It solves that super easy 4-minute task, but completely ignores the core tracking problem. What you end up with is just way more volume, way less actual signal, and inboxes completely flooded with messages that read like they came from a machine because, well, they did. We don't need a fake writer. What we need is a relentless tracker. Which brings us to section 2, inside the enforcer system, building a standing instruction. So how does a relentless, well-oiled machine actually work? It runs a very specific daily sequence. Step 1, it grounds itself in reality by confirming the actual current date, because if it assumes the wrong date, every single follow-up interval gets totally corrupted. Step 2, it reads your system of record, like a spreadsheet that acts as its memory. Step 3, it sweeps your inboxes broadly to find real opportunities. Step 4, it checks your calendar forward and backward for missing follow-ups or impossible travel times. Step 5, it applies your specific custom rules. And finally, Step 6, it writes everything back to your tracker, so tomorrow starts with today's reality. It executes this exact sequence flawlessly every single morning. Now, the absolutely crucial part is how you customize this, and that relies heavily on what we call the exception list. Anyone can tell an AI, hey, follow up after 14 days. But encoding your judgment, your specific exceptions, is where the real magic lives. Maybe a specific contact specifically asks for a monthly cadence, or maybe a project is totally real but just not urgent right now. This list is the accumulated human judgment you usually carry around in your head and, let's face it, apply pretty inconsistently. By actually writing it down, the AI enforces your judgment perfectly every single day. Now, what's really fascinating here is this single number, 7. When you're designing an AI enforcer, you have to constrain the daily output. Instead of asking for a massive summary of 19 random things, you force the system to give you exactly 7 ranked actions, complete with urgency tiers. Constraint forces prioritization, and prioritization is the actual hard work here. If an AI just hands you an unranked list of 19 things, it hasn't solved your problem at all. It's just restated it. Cutting it down to exactly 7 actionable items, that's a real game changer. To get those perfect 7 items, the system needs to cast a wide net. Sweep wide, filter hard. You might be tempted to only have the AI check known contacts or known domains, but honestly, the highest value finds are almost always the things you weren't already tracking. The system has to scan everything and filter hard. Furthermore, you really have to explicitly name your blind spots. For instance, if you have important conversations over text message, tell the AI that. Have it flag any relationship whose last interaction was a text so it never pretends to see everything when it actually can't. And check this out.
These are real catches from early runs of this exact AI enforcer. It caught a person being actively emailed for weeks who wasn't even in the tracking system. Or look at this, an auto reply that got logged as just a delivery confirmation was actually a departure notice. The contactant completely left the company. It also caught a cold text message thread that a standard inbox scan would totally miss, and even flagged an email where the wrong month was typed in for a proposed meeting date. Grounding this philosophy in undeniable reality really shows you just how incredibly powerful discipline and tracking truly are. But beyond just catching errors, the AI revealed a painful but totally necessary truth. The system characterizes weakness accurately. In the source material, the author noted that the AI showed their strongest results were all outbound efforts, while warm, earned relationships were just being left to sit there and decay. No amount of human self-assessment had managed to catch that pattern. The AI basically held up a mirror to the reality of the workflow. Which leads us directly into Section 3, the unexpected lesson, enforcement over output. As the source material beautifully puts it, the leverage is in enforcement, which is invisible and compounds. The true power of artificial intelligence isn't creating output. It's applying your own standards to your own work with a level of consistency you simply cannot sustain yourself. You know your standards perfectly well when things are calm, but you need them the most when things are chaotic. The weeks when your relationships slip are precisely the weeks you are just way too busy to notice them slipping. AI steps in to enforce your standards on your hardest, busiest days. So how do we actually apply this leverage in your own business? Well, here is your actionable blueprint. First, find a discipline you already believe in but reliably fail to execute. Maybe that's pipeline hygiene, code reviews, or customer check-ins. Second, write down the rules and, critically, every single exception. Third, give the AI a real system of record, like a spreadsheet, that it can write back to. Fourth, constrain the output to a highly actionable number, like our rule of 7. And finally, run it daily for 2 weeks before you judge it. Let that value compound. Now, it's just as important to understand the boundaries of this technology. We know what it does, right? It enforces consistency, it flags quiet opportunities, and it compounds its value every single day. But it is absolutely crucial to remember what it does not do. It does not build the actual relationships. It doesn't know what to say to a friend you've known for 15 years. And it certainly does not replace human review. Always keep in mind, the AI itself does not remember anything. Your file, your system of record, is what remembers. The actual relationship building, that is still entirely up to you. Encode the judgment once. Let the system hold you to it every day. I really want you to remember that the major gap in modern business isn't a lack of knowledge, and it isn't a lack of motivation. It's a capacity problem. There are simply way too many inputs for our human brains to track consistently. And capacity is exactly what this technology adds. It essentially makes you as good as you already know how to be every single day. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. What is the one discipline your business knows it should execute but reliably fails to? And when will you let AI enforce it? It is time to stop using AI just to generate more noise and content. Start using it to enforce your systems, track your opportunities, and bring relentless discipline to your workflow. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start building your own enforcer system today.